But you know what? I can make it work. While I'm talking to you, I am cutting and pasting RTMP data into the stream so that I can include the folks on TikTok. Oh, yes. I don't want to leave them out. They are important. They are our base. Actually, not exactly. They are one of many places we stream. This is really loud. Let's make it a little quieter. Yeah. I gotta hit one more button. Come on. Where's my mouse? My mouse went to walk away. There we go. Nothing like a little pressure because you were last. See, there's the alarm. It's 9:30. We're on time. Fantastic. Okay, very good. Good morning to everybody. It's going to be a great day. Today's an extra large episode where we talk about stuff and things with different people. And we start off with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. That's going to happen at 9:35. That's 5 minutes away. So what are we going to talk about until then? Well, I guess I should start the show off with what I always talk about, and that is Vision Zero Enforcement Team. But wait, let's first talk about the fact that we are going to have this graphic up. If you want to call into the show and join us by way of the magic of radio, join us by calling 416-872-1010. Talk to the producers there in the control room and get yourself on the air, or text 71010 and bring your questions to Jerry. And then we'll talk about it because that's what we do. Now, we'll also take questions from the interwebs, and if you want to send those, like Zombie just did, said good morning, coming in through Twitch, just send them into the chat. Now, if you're coming by YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, you can just send them and I will see them myself. If you're coming in by TikTok, we'll see them, but it's going to be the magical producers who are in and watching the chat room. They're going to cut and paste and make what you say here go over there. It's a magical concert of things happening in the background. Ryan Pinn I'm going to check the DM later, but he sent me a message on my Instagram because he got to play Copper today. Well, I look forward to hearing all about that later. Ryan is a driving instructor in Nova Scotia who hangs out in the show all the time, and it is a knower of many things, and we appreciate that you spend time with us. I probably should have pressed go on the connection to Instagram, as I was about to just mention the fact that Instagram is able to send us messages, but I never actually pressed go. So they weren't live and they missed out everything I just said, which is fine because, well, we have an hour and a half long show, so they'll be able to pick up wherever they could jump in. Kayla Draconis, greetings and salutations to you, sir. We have, oh, hey, Monica says, hello, Toronto Police. I'm just looking over at the chat. So we're building up. I am going to briefly discuss Vision Zero Enforcement Team. They are a magical group of officers who go out and change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do this not with hugs, with actual issued offense notices. What are they looking for? Well, they're looking for people who choose to engage in certain behavior: speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those are the behaviors that more often than not, or at least are known to lead to serious injury and death. They don't always, very often they do. And of course, we want to make the streets safer for everybody, regardless if you're in a car, on a bicycle, on a motorcycle, and all of those vehicles are out on the road every single day, sometimes in the winter, but definitely in the weather we've got now, which is getting better. I'm hoping for some dry roads. I like dry roads. I like that the grass gets greener and all that kind of jazz happens when it rains, but at the end of the day, I do like sunny, nice, pleasant days. Being the 3rd of May, it is the 3rd of May. Officers in the Vision Zero Enforcement Team are focused on enforcement activities in 52 Division and 53 Division. It's nice, the numbers that go together. That's Kensington, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play. And they deserve to be safe. Now, let me just pull up the control because they are here to say hello. Good morning.
Good morning. We'll be up in about 45 seconds here.
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Hello? Now I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, sorry about
messed
that.
with my faders. It was a fader down.
Oh, okay. We're up in about 40 seconds here. And just double checking, I'm not going to play music for you. Do you want the show liner? I just realized the one that says you're listening to Jerry Agar on News Talk or on iHeartRadio.
It's easier without the music because sometimes that trips our YouTube.
I don't want to.
So it's better without, but I'm cool either way.
But what about the liner? Do you care about the liner? Do you need to hear that?
No,
Would you rather?
It doesn't make a difference to me. We're happy. We're happy either way.
Okay, sounds good. Coming up in 20 seconds.
Sounds good. Thank you. So there you go. My spiel about Vision Zero was perfect timing to lead off into Jerry Agar and News Talk 1010, where we'll find out what's going on in Toronto, well, we're not really going to find out what's going on. We're going to talk to people who are calling into the show. Let me put up that graphic right now for you. A reminder, if you want to call into the show, 416-872-1010, and you can text the show 71010. Of course, if you are already here, you can simply chat, send us a message, and we can include you when Jerry says,
listen anytime, anywhere to News Talk 1010 Toronto through your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Jerry Agar continues on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Good to have you along. Sean Shapiro, Constable Sean Shapiro of Toronto Traffic Services, does a show on TikTok at Traffic Services every day, talking to people about traffic issues, how the law works, etc. It has proven to be exceptionally popular. It's a good service from the police, I think. And so every couple of weeks, we dip in and join Sean Shapiro. I dubbed him the TikTok traffic cop to get some questions answered. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Just before we get into all this traffic stuff, I want to tell you and everybody else, we have this story of 2 Canadians serving in Ukraine's International Legion were killed fighting in Ukraine. One was Kyle Porter, age 27 of Calgary, but Cole Zelenko, age 21, is from St. Catharines, and his mother has been good enough to join us at 11:05 this morning to tell us about Cole and what he was doing there and amplify on the story. So that's at 11:05 this morning. We'll talk to his mother. Now, good to have you along, Sean, as always. Here's an interesting piece of research that came out, and I wonder how you react to it. You and I are both motorcycle riders. It says motorcyclists over 45 years old are more likely to die in a crash. How do you assess this little study?
Well, you know what? I had a quick read of the article. I don't know how many crashes were in total. I don't know if that was, I may have missed it, but it could be 10 people, 5 people being above and 5 people being below. So I don't know how to read that information. I haven't looked at our stats, but there's different causes to collisions. The ones that are younger are likely due to speed, whereas the ones that are older may be due to, a car doing something. It's just too hard to extrapolate any meaning from that.
Well, and those of us who are older, let's be honest, Sean, we don't have the reaction time we had 30 years ago.
Well, it can be that. As a motor squad officer, I practice the heck out of every season. We qualify every year and have to be able to perform at the same level and demonstrate that we can perform at that level in order to continue as a member of the unit. And some people don't make it and don't get to stay. But I really took a lot of pride in riding, and I suggest that anyone who rides, this is a perishable skill. If you're getting back on your bike, anyone can go straight and go fast, but slow speed maneuverability, remembering how that whole gyroscopic style of turning works, push turning, these are good skills. And taking courses is a good thing. You're never too old to learn more or new tricks.
Well, one of the first things I learned when I took the motorcycle course, which I would recommend, don't just get a license, start riding a motorcycle. They made us do everything. This was in Kansas City. They made us do everything for the entire long weekend of the experience at under 15 miles an hour. Because what they said was, the instructor said, when a motorcycle gets over 15 miles an hour, it is a gyroscope. It'll keep itself up. The thing could go along at 20 miles an hour with nobody on it until it ran into something. If it's not being steered, it would tell it hit something. And so people get on a motorcycle the first time, if they're brave enough to do so, and get it up over about like 20 miles an hour, and they start to think, hey, I can do this. You're not doing anything. Riders, people think they're better at things than they are, simply because they haven't had a big fail. But you're absolutely right. Slow speed driving is where the skill comes in. If you want to see some really impressive stuff, Google Police Motorcycle Rodeo. Check out slow speed skills trials where they're basically balancing a motorcycle at next to no forward momentum. It's amazing. And I'm not as good as I'm nowhere near anymore. I've been a number of years off a bike, but there are guys who do magical things on motorcycles. Well, sure. It's like those bicycle riders you see at a red light who they sit there on the bike and they don't put their foot down. I'm amazed by it. Even though as critical as I am about bicycle riders sometimes, you're a hardcore bicycle rider, I think, if you can do that. They just sit there and they keep the bicycle up without moving forward and they're waiting for the light to change. It's a cool skill. Meanwhile,
I was going to say, I do that on a motorcycle, or at least try to.
Can you?
I can for a little bit. I can't do that as well as some of them. You have to drag the rear brake and move just an inch at a time.
I see. Okay.
We'll go play one day.
That.
I'm not going to do that. I got other problems. The Montreal Borough thinks people with bigger vehicles should pay more for parking, and they're adopting a new policy to reflect that. They say the bigger your car is, the more expensive it will be to purchase a permit to park on the street. I hope that's not an idea that's coming to Toronto, or do you think it's a good idea?
Well, I have a big truck, so I don't want to pay more, and I think that that would be terrible for me. But I understand where they're talking about in their community where everyone's parking on the street. Montreal is a different animal, I think, but it would be a nightmare for enforcing. I think now they're talking about permitted street parking as opposed to pay and display. But yeah, I think it'll be a logistical nightmare for if you were trying to get it anywhere else.
If you have a traffic question for Sean Shapiro, here are our numbers: 416-872-1010, 416-872-1010, toll free at 877-518-5151, 518-5151, and you can text us at 71010. Here's a question from Toronto. If a truck is carrying a load which is protruding out the back of the truck, do they have to put that red flag on there by law, or are people just doing it?
No, they over a certain distance off the bumper, and I cannot for the life of me remember what that distance is right now. You do have to put a flag, and you can be charged if you don't.
Okay.
Now, I will say that many people put like a staple of a thin strand of red yarn. That doesn't cut it. It's got to be a legitimate flag.
Well, what constitutes a flag?
Visible. It has to be clearly visible. So it could be a lot of yarn, but just not one strand.
If you get the whole ball of yarn attached on there with some clear packing tape, then maybe that would work. But I think it also helps if it flaps around a little bit, because movement catches people's attention.
Absolutely. And it's great to have the flag, but one of the problems that I see or saw when I was on the road doing enforcement is that they use bungee cords or string that you would tie a turkey with. It has to be rated straps capable of securing that load, or it's an insecure load. And we see all sorts of horrible collisions where things become dislodged, fly off of trucks, or are put up in such a way like it's going through the window onto the dashboard, and in a collision slides right through the windshield. There has to be some care and thought into how you secure items to a vehicle.
Somebody writes in thinking that it's 3 feet from the bumper.
I'd have to look it up to be certain, and maybe we'll do that during the break.
All right. So this is a really interesting text message. I've never had something like this. Phil in Hamilton writes, the other day I was at an intersection with my right turn signal light on, but there was a no right turn on red sign posted. So no right turn on red. This person, and Phil was signaling he was going to turn right, but he was waiting for the proper legal time to do it. And he writes, the jerk behind me obviously didn't see the sign and started honking. What should I do in that situation in the future? Should I honk and point at the sign, or get out of my car and give him a piece of my mind?
Well, it's definitely something that you'd want to do, right? You want to share that frustration for the people who don't look for signs, but don't get out of the car. Don't escalate things, because you never know what that other person's willing to do or how they can react, and tragedies can occur when people get scared. But they are being jerks, and they should be paying attention. But hold your ground. Just do your thing. You obviously don't go through the light just because someone honked. Just like you shouldn't speed up and exceed the speed limit if someone's riding your bumper. Let them do their own thing.
Okay, I think in a situation like that, you just deal with it. It's not going to be that long until the light changes, and you hope that they see the sign once you move through and realize that they made a mistake. Although the person likely to be honking the horn and getting all angry is not the kind of person who could ever admit he made a mistake.
Well, you know what? You could just open the window and point to the sign, and then they can do the big gulp as they have to, eat their pride.
Does a driver get a ticket if the passenger is not wearing a seatbelt?
If the passenger is under the age of 16, yes. As children, you're responsible as the driver for ensuring that they are secured properly and in the appropriate thing. If they're infants, they have to be in car seats and so on. But if they're adults or 16 or over, they get their own ticket.
Okay, the Uber driver never says anything to me about putting on a seatbelt when I get in the back of the Uber. I imagine sometimes it would be the same with cab drivers. I've been doing Uber lately. I always put my seatbelt on because I just think it's smart to do. They never say anything to me, so they're not responsible for that.
They're not. Personally, I would want everyone buckled in my vehicle, and I would reject anyone who doesn't want to put it on. But there are some medical exemptions for seatbelts where someone could legally not wear a seatbelt if they had a doctor's permission and documented that they, for a heart condition or what have you. And I'm not a medical doctor despite wearing a uniform, so I couldn't say what those things are. But there are reasons why people can't wear them, and they may not talk to you about it just because they don't want to breach anybody's privacy or who knows.
All right. What about the guy who's too fat?
Well, that is a reason.
Okay.
I'll tell you, there's something called a seatbelt extender, and they're even available for manufacturers. And with all my kit on as a police officer, with my gun and whatnot, I would have a difficult time getting under my holster to put the seatbelt on. When I was in a Crown Victoria, it wasn't an issue in the newer vehicles, and I got a seatbelt extender. So there's ways of dealing with it and still putting on that safety. Seatbelt is still the best way to stay in a vehicle in a collision.
Okay, so we'll take up a TikTok question or two and take your calls coming up with Sean Shapiro. It's 9:45.
Okay.
News Talk 1010 time saver traffic.
I'm going to put him in the background for a second because I want to look up the flag. I just don't remember. It's not one of those super duper common questions. In fact, I don't know if we've had that question ever in the 2 and a bit years that we've been doing this. Okay. HTA. Let's look this up. And for anyone watching, a funny thing, I got to make a note now so I can go back and talk to TikTok and say, what happened? Because I got a notification that our live was limited on TikTok because our content is violating something. So I don't know what that is. Apparently we're not, it looks too produced. We're too good. That's the problem. I think that's exactly what it said. And I dismissed the live stream too early. So maybe I'll have to do another one just to get that article. Oh, hey, look at that. One of our magical listeners, who is a good friend and police officer, just sent me the link. And it's red marker sufficient to indicate projection of load. And it is red flag or red marker. So 1.5 meters. And that was what I wanted to say, but they said 3 feet. And I said, So it's 2.2 is the conversion. So let's see here, 1.5. It works up to 3.3. So 3.3 feet. So they were right. 3 feet is close enough. I'll accept it. We'll talk about when they come back. Okay, they're silent, so we will put them back in the mic is live, and when they come back, they'll just be in our ear. Okay, what do we have here? We have a educated donkey has a question. I kid you not, that's the name. I'm reading usernames. Oh, interesting. What happens? Okay, what happens when you get a parking ticket but don't have a license plate? Well, that's a problem. I imagine it. Well, we'll talk about that. It's really a good question for Aaron, and I don't really have the perfect answer for that. But we'll talk about it. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Bill Carroll. Hey, Canadian show, how's it going? We have to talk. You and I have to chat. We got to make our plan happen this week or next. Probably next. This week's kind of booked up. We want to do an episode together. We want to do some stuff and things. Some trivia. Yes. Okay, what is this? When getting pulled over. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good question from Zombie. XZ Zombie. Just a few minutes, we'll be back with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010, where we are live on the radio, or will be when we come back from commercial break. And in the meantime, if you're watching the show on whatever platform you're on, please like, share, invite people to it. It would be very nice of you to do that. And the reason being is we want to share and help as many people as possible. That's what we're here for. Precisely what we're here for. Yeah, we don't do this for us. We do it for you. It's a show for you, and it's based on you. If you've got questions, we try and answer them. If you come in by TikTok, which is apparently having issues today, we have messed with some algorithmic stuff. So it should be very light on the TikTok side. But on every other platform, if you have questions, jump in, talk to us. But I will be totally distracted today as we try and figure out why we're limited. Who cares? You know what? The people who are here today, you're enough. You're enough for us. We don't need more, but we do. But if you tap that and say you like it, that's still a good thing. What do we have here? So Ryan says you can't control what others do. You can only control how you respond to them. Yeah, this is dealing with the honkers. Honkers behind you who are trying to get you to do things you're not supposed to do. Oh, and Akela, yes, I have your clip primed and ready for tomorrow's show. Oh, wait. I'm off site tomorrow. Your show, your video might just air as a post because I don't think we can do a show tomorrow because I'm off site.
Because I made special artwork. Maybe we'll do it as an evening show tomorrow. No, can't do that because there's the Crime Stoppers Gala. I'm going to figure out a way. Some way, somehow, we are doing a show. I just got to figure out timing. Yeah, we're going to make it happen. Either way, your video will be published because it's an awesome video. For anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, why I'm having this discussion with Akela is because tomorrow is May 4th, and May the 4th be with you. It's a thing, so we're all in. And Akela was kind enough to create some awesomeness in video format. Yeah, but yeah, pay attention to your to
Jerry
announcements
Agar
tonight.
continues on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Thank you for being with me. A couple of Canadians died serving in Ukraine's International Legion. They were killed fighting in Ukraine, hit by Russian artillery fire. One of them was 21-year-old Cole Zelenko of St. Catharines, and his mother is going to join us at 11:05 to talk about her son, why he went, etc., and just tell us about him coming up 11:05 here on the show. Meanwhile, we're with the TikTok traffic cop, Sean Shapiro, who does a show every day answering your traffic questions on TikTok at Traffic Services, and we dip in every once in a while. Here is Daniel from Aurelia. What's your question for Sean?
Hey there, love the show. I live in Aurelia, but I own a business in Toronto, downtown Toronto. Lots of cyclists hopping from street to road, etc. And there's a lot of one-way side streets. I think I said that. And when bikes are going the wrong way down a one-way street, and if I get in some sort of collision, and maybe it would be my fault in some respect, but they're going the wrong way down a one-way street. So who would be in the wrong? And I've also seen several police officers doing that on bikes.
So technically, there are contraflow bike lanes that are on some streets.
Yes, but generally it's not that though.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay. Generally speaking, they are going the wrong way on a one-way, and it's against the law. They can't do it. So if they drive head-on into you, and you did everything you could do to avoid that collision because you're paying attention, you see it, then they should be charged for driving the wrong way. And then if you did something wrong, you might be held accountable for that. But if you're doing everything right, it should be on them. And
what about if it's a bunch of cops? Like, because literally, I see that like every day.
Yeah, I mean. Are they technically breaking the direction? Yes. Are they going to a call, or are they just riding around? I don't know what their purpose is. There are times that when we go to a call, we go the wrong way. Now, generally speaking, we have lights and sirens in a car doing it.
No, I get that. It just doesn't. It seems like they're just strolling around, parked, like strolling around the area.
They should also be following the rules as should everyone else. And
all right. Thanks, Daniel.
Can you tell them to do it then?
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. You could tell if they're going to a call or they're just cruising along, showing a presence in the neighborhood. And in those cases, Sean, the police officer should show the same responsibility of everyone else. If the lights and sirens are going and they're on the way to something, then we understand that.
Yeah, I totally. Bicycles have horns and that make a big noise. Some of them have lighting opportunities, but if they're just strolling, they should go the right way.
Somebody writes in, I've scraped off my rear license plate sticker. Mm-hmm. This has resulted taking off the paint underneath, exposing the bare metal. Is it still legal? Because you don't really actually have to have the stickers anymore. Or do I need to get a replacement plate? This person asks.
So technically, it's damaged to that point, and it should be replaced because it's now not the way it's supposed to be. I'm surprised that the paint came off. Generally, if you heat up the stickers, they peel off, but you're already in the situation that you're in. I would replace them just to be safe. As long as your numbers aren't so you're not invested in your numbers. That would be my suggestion. You can't actually alter or deface a plate. So in its current state, it's technically not legal.
Yeah, I'm going to Pittsburgh this weekend. I'm going to go on my bike because thank God it's finally going to stop raining apparently. And I carry some paperwork and an article, paperwork that I'm updated, and an article that you no longer have to have the stickers here in Ontario because I'm afraid that a police officer in Pennsylvania will say, well, that's an expired sticker and pull me over.
And I think it's a great idea. We've been saying the same thing since the beginning of this whole
program of removing the stickers from the system. If you have an expired sticker, you're a heat score because anyone looking at it is going to assume it's expired and not realize it's a switch. Removing the sticker is a great idea because then you're in a situation where there's lots of U.S. states that don't require stickers. So you're like everybody else, and there'd be no reason to believe that you were in the wrong for the uninformed officer. So my suggestion is heat up the sticker or use a chemical to remove it, like a Goo Gone type of thing, but don't use a knife to peel it off. That could cause some damage.
Police officer in another jurisdiction, and especially another country, doesn't have the obligation to know that we don't have to update the sticker in Ontario. You'd have to be able to demonstrate that to them. And so that's what I was trying to prepare to do. What are people asking you about on TikTok today?
We've got a couple of good ones. Speaking of license plates, Jonah wants to know, why can a license plate not be displayed in the front windshield of a car? We see this in a lot of modified cars, a lot of Teslas that just have two-way tape to hold on the license plate frame, and it comes off, and they want to store their license plate in the windshield so that they're compliant. But unfortunately, the law says it has to be at the front of the vehicle and in a conspicuous place. Well, the front is the front. It's either the front grille or the front bumper or even a tow hook adapter, but it can't be in the front windshield. It's obscured by the license, by the window for one, and it's just not as per regulation. So there's an additional issue in that if you're involved in a collision, it could become a projectile within the vehicle, and a piece of sharpish metal flying through the car, not a good idea.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, you're right. Okay. Here's a call from Kara for St. Catharines. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Good morning. We love your show, Jerry. Actually,
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. I was driving in a residential neighborhood where the street was, perhaps you could narrow, and a funeral procession was coming my way. So I signaled first, and I pulled over to the side of the road, and there was someone behind me who was following very close. And he wanted to pass me. He didn't want to wait for the funeral procession. So he laid on the horn and was doing gestures and whatnot, but I didn't move. I waited for the hearse to go by in a few of the cars that had the funeral flag on them, and then I proceeded. But he was unable to pass me because he was driving too close to me, and plus the street was too narrow for him to pass.
Well, it sounds like his problem.
Pardon?
It sounds like his problem. The deal is that you're not obligated to get out of the way for a procession. You have no legal obligation or rights to do anything unless they're being escorted by police officers who are controlling traffic. It's a nice thing to do, and showing respect to someone's final ride is great. In terms of the person who was too close to you and couldn't pass, that's a them problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kara, thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, I thought there was some sort of legal obligation to get out of the way of a funeral procession, but they have to proceed in traffic the same as everyone else, is what you're saying, unless cops come along and close off an intersection as they go through. And
that's exactly it. So if they get either officers directing traffic at intersections to help get the procession through, then the police officers directing traffic. It's not the procession that has authority; it's the police officer directing traffic and directing you.
All right, here is Mark from downtown.
Hi. There's a couple of intersections in Toronto where I'm driving along and I want to make a left at 11 a.m. Now, there's a metal sign that says I can't make a left between 7 and 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. But there's also an LED sign that's lit up that just says I can't make a left. Are they...
The LED sign would be for outside of that timed area. It would be turned on and off independently. So ultimately, you have to comply with all of the signage, despite how confusing some of it may be.
Okay, so the LED sign takes precedent at that point.
Safest thing probably, Mark, is to just say, I don't know what they want, so I won't make the turn until the light turns or something.
That's what I do.
All right.
Go up and make a right and turn around.
Thanks very much. Quick comment here. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell whether you can or cannot park at a certain place because there seems to be 6 or 7 conflicting signs. And I mentioned that to say, Sean, why don't you bring the parking officer on again?
Let's do it. Let's do it next time.
Because I loved it when she came on the show.
She's awesome.
Sean Shapiro, you're going to continue here this morning on TikTok?
Right till 11. We're actually on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them. And if you want to find us, you can go to trafficcop.ca. I have links to all of the platforms we're on.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Take care. This is the iHeartRadio Talk. And that is the Jerry portion of the show in the bag, in the can. Done. Finished. Moving on. Still seeing people coming in, so this is good. Things are working on TikTok, but we've been limited, and I don't know why. But fortunately, I will screenshot it next time. I really regret not screenshotting it originally. If you're new to the show, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I am a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff in general. I drink coffee. I talk about donuts. I don't really talk about donuts. Doing donuts is illegal, by the way. We want to answer your traffic and police questions. So if you've got them, please ask them, and we can talk about anything. We're going to talk about. We've already talked about Vision Zero enforcement team. I want to talk about employment. I want to discuss what is currently available for people, options for the application process and becoming a police officer. Someone in the chat says, "Are you on the clock?" There's a clock there, it's running, and yes, I am being paid to be here because I'm a police officer who works as a media relation officer, a social media officer. This is edumacation. We educate people on traffic safety, traffic law, and stuff. And I'd love to say that I volunteer my time. I did that for 12 years. Now I'm getting paid for it. I volunteered as an auxiliary officer, which, by the way, if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, is possibly the best thing going. You get to have a police-like experience without being a police officer. And many people, I have to really explain, this is not a recruiting opportunity for auxiliary is not a recruitment tool. It's a way that people can contribute to the community in a different and unique way, which I think is amazing. I became an auxiliary in 2000. I had so much fun as an auxiliary. I was looking to get hired, and there was a hiring freeze. So I became a court officer, which is now a special constable, because the sole court officer role is now being expanded to the special constable or divisional special constable role. And they do a lot more than just turn keys and handle prisoner transportation and so on. So, and that's not to say anything, I'm not negging the court officer role. It's the best thing since sliced bread, but now there's even more work to be done and there's more officers to be hired. So a lot of opportunities. In any case, volunteering, amazing. And there are people who do 40 years as a volunteer while holding jobs as doctors, lawyers, accountants, all sorts of professional roles. And they still, give back and do it in a cool way. Now, let's see. How many hours do I need to volunteer a week? Can I volunteer if I have a full-time job? Yes. Yemi wants to know. And you can be let's talk about it. I think it's listed on the page. Let me pull up the screen. And we're going to take questions. So if you've got questions while we're talking about other stuff and things, feel free to ask questions about anything. And we'll talk about careers for a bit, and then we'll come back. So when we talk about careers, do I see volunteer youth programs? Here we go. See, auxiliaries, those are those officers with checkerboard headdress on their headdress. And you can't really see it in these photos, but under the police patch on their blue shirts, they don't have black shirts, it says auxiliary beneath the Toronto police patch. So I think it's 150 hours a year, which is not hard to do. Yeah, in this picture, you can really see the patch. This is a great example. This is the Santa Claus parade. And many people may not realize or don't realize that the majority of officers you see along the parade route at the Santa Claus parade, well, they're not police officers, they're auxiliary officers. They don't have police powers. They don't generally arrest people. They do have the same powers as anybody else, being that you're citizens, and citizens have, even if you're not actually a citizen, but the citizen's power of arrest applies to people who are going to arrest someone based on, having witnessed an indictable offense. You have to understand law to use it still, because otherwise you might get into big trouble. But here you go. So to volunteer, you must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, 18 years of age, have completed 4 years of secondary school or equivalent, not have been convicted of a criminal offense, fully licensed G driver with no more than 6 points. Yeah, driving record really can hurt you. Vision standards, are they the same? So uncorrected visual acuity of 20/40 and best acuity of 20/30 with both eyes open, binocular. Okay, so you have to pass your vision test. I think this is going to be the same for PC. Perform the duties, first aid, and there you go. 150 hours a year, I was right. I didn't know that you have to live in the GTA. I didn't know that was the thing. It doesn't say Toronto, because it used to be back in the day that you had to live in Toronto to work as a Toronto police officer. And I don't remember ever seeing this for, it says expected to. I wonder if that means that they can be unexpected. Complete all ongoing training as required. That's important. Commit to the program for a minimum of 1 year. Oh, you must meet all the requirements. Well, there you go. It is truly an amazing way to participate in your city. And I say your city because as a police officer, as an auxiliary, I really see Toronto as my city. There's a sense of ownership here, and I don't, and that offends people. They're not your roads, not your city. No, but I take pride in it as though it were mine, because I love it and I live here and I grew up here and it's important to me, and that's why I was so offended when I saw people after the game on Saturday ripping down a street sign. It really, really offends me to see that. It's my city. It's never mind the fact that it's tax dollars and time and energy. It's just disgusting behavior. So I absolutely spoke out about it. Going back here. Can you tell that I'm really miffed about the person who stole the sign? It's just disgusting. Okay. So police constable roles. Absolutely. We're always looking for qualified candidates. And you can get all the information you ever wanted to know and more right here on the site. You can apply directly online. And there's information, scrolling. You can go down. You can see how much the salary is. You can see, here you go, a cadet in training while you are being paid to learn, $67,680. It's a fantastic job. Not just because the money's good. It's a fantastic job. It is a career with many jobs. So you start in what, like I did, started as an auxiliary, became a special constable court officer, then became a police officer. I worked in different locations across the city. I worked in different roles. I was a supervisor with the auxiliary program. When I left, I was a sergeant. I was a court supervisor. So I equivalent of a sergeant on the civilian side. Really, really cool opportunities to learn different things and develop yourself as a human. But there you go. And once you graduate, you're bumped up to 75,000 every roughly year as you continue until you get to the point where you're a first class constable and you finish the general constable generalist program. Okay. You can read this on your own time. Special constable, parking enforcement officer, communications operator. But even if you don't want to be someone out on the road interacting with the public in the way that I love doing, you can still become a contributing member to our service. And that's where I bring up this. Tech analyst, senior analyst, payroll operations, logistics, programmers, legal counsel, solutions architect, and we talked about communications operator. This is a really challenging one. If you talk about communications operator, this is a tough job. Not only is it tough because they're dealing with the public and people in crisis, but it's the multitasking or switching functionality that you must be able to adapt to is huge. It really is. It's a big thing. Let me fix my graphics and then we'll get back into the questions and the stuff and things. And again, if you are watching and you have questions, whether it be about careers or traffic or general stuff, let's talk about it today because we can. Let's talk about it. And as it turns out, I'm really now miffed realizing that May the 4th may not be a show day. I got to make it work. I got to figure it out. Maybe we should do our first evening show. But how do I do that? I don't know. So tomorrow is the Crime Stoppers Gala. Do I have a thing for this? Crime Stoppers Gala. Let me see if I can find this. May 4th. Oh, okay. Here we go. Can I find the page for it? Crime Stoppers. Here we go. So it's tomorrow. See, it starts like 5 in the afternoon. Maybe I can do a remote. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Robert's got some questions. Well, a whole bunch of questions just popped up. Excellent. This was a question I had hoped to talk about when we were on with Jerry, but it didn't happen. Here we go now. XZ, is it XZ Zombie? XZ, I don't know. Is there a way to pronounce your username or is it just zombie with 2 letters before it? I don't know. Let me know. When getting pulled over, but it's unsafe to do so right away, traffic, obstructed shoulder, etc. What is the way to tell police that you're going to pull over when you can and you're not evading? Well, legally, you're not allowed to stop for parking. Legally, you must pull over immediately. Come to a stop at the nearest curb or edge roadway. Even if there's an obstruction, you still got to stop legally. And we are taking into consideration, or should be taking into consideration, what's going on around you. If there's a problem, if there's something up ahead, we should be scanning ahead for that. We have lights, we have sirens, we have arrow sticks in the back of our vehicles. If it's a really bad spot, we probably have a second vehicle on its way to give us more coverage. And we're responsible for your safety. If you continue to drive, like you said, you're not trying to evade, but but we're going to think you are, or very well. You there's no real good way. If you wave, it might be a level of confusion that you're met with, or it may not. I would suggest, if you're really concerned about safety, pull over. They're going to block the lane. They're going to approach you, and you can express your concerns at that time. And if they're okay with it, they'll help you relocate. They'll tell you where to go. Otherwise, you're going to deal with the stop where it is. That's the only advice I can give you, because driving away could result in significant charges. Okay. We talked about that. We talked about this. Can you transport open liquor in your trunk if the passenger didn't finish it all? Or finish it at all? Oh, at party. I'm making up my own words and adding things. Jen, the answer is open, no. Resealed, but not factory sealed, in the trunk or out of reach of the driver, yes. But open liquor suggests open, actually open and available to drink. But if you have a screw cap bottle and it's in the trunk or out of the way of the driver, that's fine. If it's sealed, it can be anywhere. So you can drive with it on the passenger seat if it was sealed from factory. Mike wants me to repeat the thing about funeral processions. So the deal with funeral processions is funeral processions don't have any special rights or privileges. It's great when people want to honor it and they pull over and let them pass. And it's very, I think it's very kind when we don't split up or try and change lanes through a funeral procession, because, respect is something we don't see nearly enough. And I support it. But, the caller on the radio actually said they pulled over and someone was right behind them honking, saying go. Well, they wanted to show respect. So they pulled over and essentially parked. The person behind was upset. Okay, tough luck. If you pulled over and parked and you're legally out of the way and he's pulled up too close to the back of your vehicle, that's their problem, in my opinion. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing in this scenario, but if they're now stuck as the funeral procession continues, then how long is that going to really affect their day? And even if it really does, they shouldn't be so close to your bumper that they can't make a move around you. But I don't know how you let a funeral procession pass without having room to pass, because she did say that there was no way for them to pass. So I maybe there's something I'm not picking up from what she was putting down. Okay, let's go back to the next question in the order of the question and answering, and then my scroll just unscrolled. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. Master T now wants to know, how do we deal with campers on passing lane? I see all the time in a 4-lane highway. So by camper, I'm assuming you mean that someone who is just hanging out in the left lane and is not going the speed limit. Because if they're going the speed limit, technically they're going the speed limit, and that's as fast as you can go. I know people get upset when I remind people that you're not allowed to speed. You're not allowed to exceed the speed limit at all, not by 1 kilometer legally. But you can pass on the right in a multi-lane highway, because you're not passing, you're not making an unsafe maneuver. You're changing lanes and you're exceeding the speed of the person who's in the wrong place. If that person's just hanging out camping, they should be in the right lane. They should be. And OPP will often issue tickets to people who are failing to, or where there are slower traffic, failing to move over to the right. So, safely move past them without exceeding the speed limit, please. I won't give you permission to speed. You do what you're going to do, and you get the consequences of whatever happens. But I'll never tell you to speed, because it's not legal, and I don't do it. People don't believe me when I say I don't speed, but I don't speed. In fact, today, so yesterday I was talking about this, and I'll bring it up very quickly. But I'm shocked and amazed at the fact that with my new tires, I got new tires, new rubber on the vehicle. I don't know if this is new with the new tires or if I've just never noticed it, but when I set my cruise control to 100, I'm doing 98. So for much of my ride into work today, I was doing 98, because I'm now like intrigued by the concept. It's not enough for me to do the speed limit. Now I'm doing 2 kilometers below the speed limit. I'm being safer. And I know I'm also upsetting many people on my drive, and I'm okay with that, because there's no reason I need to go faster just because they want me to. I'm taking a stand. You can too. You don't get anywhere any faster. In fact, the people that passed me, one person passed me on the way to work. He was probably doing 2 kilometers faster. I got to work at the same time. It's such a, in a city environment, there's no reason. The only thing that happens when you go faster is that you risk, significantly faster. You significantly increase your crash risk. But when you go faster, you burn more gas. And people say, no, that's not true. No, it's true. And you also accelerate and decelerate on a regular basis, especially if you're going well over the speed limit. There's all sorts of benefits to going slow. And I drive a big truck and I want to save gas. I am cheap. Okay. Someone asked earlier, and I never talked about it on the air, what happens if you get a parking ticket, but you don't have a license plate? Well, it's going to be issued to the VIN number, and you might get towed because you can't be an unplated vehicle on the road. So I imagine you're going to get towed and impounded. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing, and I'm going to bring this up. I'm flagging this for future follow-up. I've got a list of pinned messages, and when Aaron walks through this door, I am going to ask for confirmation. Okay. We talked about this. Okay, Master T, we talked about that. Can you get a personalized license plate of your old plate number? Fantastic question. I know for a fact you can, because my dad loved his old plate. So he paid silly money when it rusted and got a vanity plate of his old plate, which I thought was bonkers, because why would you spend money to get it was an okay plate. I liked it. It was easy to remember. But $500 or whatever the vanity cost is, totally unreasonable in my opinion. I'd pay $52 or get a warranty, free replacement before I put money in my hand in my pocket to, just get an easy to remember something I'm used to plate. That's just me, just personal opinion. What steps are you taking in preparation for the playoffs? How are you going to prevent damage? Zach Media wants to know. I don't know. That's not my department. That's not my area of expertise. I am disgusted by the bad behavior, but at the same time, I'm not privy to the plans. I believe that there is a huge contingent of, callback opportunities. Callbacks are when we're off duty, called back in to do overtime to handle events like this. And I imagine there'll be tons of private security called in to protect property too, because if the last the Saturday game was any indication of the potential of unruly behavior, one person slapped a police horse and subsequently got arrested, and rightfully so. Not only are they assaulting a police officer, because that horse is a police officer, and it has all the protections thereof, there's no reason to assault an animal. It's disgusting behavior. That action could have resulted in injury of an officer, resulted in injury of the public. They're great horses. They're phenomenally trained. But you slap one, it might kick out, and who knows what could have happened. So, kudos to the officers who pinched the assaulting party, assaultive party, person who hit a horse. And then there were people who ripped out a street sign, and a crowd cheered, and I think that's absolutely pathetic. But again, I don't know what the plans are, but I'm sure there's lots of them. So don't do bad things, because I'm sure there'll be people to appropriately respond. The tire size by millimeters does change the number of rotations per kilometer, hence affecting the odometer and speedometer. Yes, for this I am aware. But I never really noticed it. Like, I never really paid attention. I don't put monster tires on my cars or my vehicles, so I never really paid attention. But I was shocked to see a 2 kilometer consistent difference. And actually, that should change the gap. Like, no speedometer is accurate all the way through the range, just like a telephoto lens is going to be sharper than a prime lens, but we'll have a range where it is very sharp. Maybe not at either end of the focal range. But anyway, I digress. Dan wants to know if cops are allowed to sit in people's driveways using radar. Private property using radar, I don't think there's anything preventing us from doing it. Also, you have to know that the front of most driveways are actually not private property. The area on, about, 3 meters, let's say, from the sidewalk is actually city property. So could we do it? Yeah, on the city property, absolutely. Do I do it? I don't go on people's driveways. No, it's creepy. But could we do it? I'm sure we could. There's nothing to say we couldn't. If we were asked not to, I would leave if I was doing it. But like I said, I wouldn't do that. Canadian Carper. Why does a truck plate need to be black even if it's for personal use? Because it's a truck. Because it's classified as a truck, and because it's classified as a truck, it's a truck. And truck plates are different. They put a sticker on it. Actually, I don't even know if the sticker's still a thing. We had this conversation, and when Sergeant Kulik was on the show last, I think, it was a while ago, and we talked about the fact that there's a sticker, and she said, there's no sticker on my truck. And sure enough, there's no sticker on a truck. So then we went and looked at all of the trucks in our parking lot, and like there were two of them, and they were really old plates. So last time I owned a truck that qualified for truck plates, it had truck plates and a sticker that said for personal use because there's an exemption, so it changes. Really, it's just a tax difference. Black plates are and the only way around that is get vanity plates, because if you put vanity plates on a truck, they're blue. Yeah. Big Jeff Fresh says, would payday for a police horse be heyday? Yeah. Okay. Sliding back here because a whole bunch of stuff just rolled in. And thank you to everyone who's watching and has questions. And we're going right to 11 o'clock, so keep them coming. And for the folks on TikTok in particular, because now I'm miffed by the fact that we've been limited. Please like the live. Maybe that will undo. We don't know what magic happens under the hood at TikTok and why things go the way they go, but apparently we've offended the algo gods. So yeah, maybe like and share, and we'll bring some more folks to the party. Not that it's about that. It's not about big numbers. In fact, if it was just two of you, okay, even if it was just one of you, we'd have a conversation. I think it's great. You know what we haven't done is we haven't had guests in a while. Like way back when, and I think she's still in the room right now. But Emma was the very first. Was she the very first person? I think she was the very first person to ever go live on TikTok with us. It's a record. Like, or at least it's a thing that we need to celebrate and remember. The very first. I think I can say that with some confidence. Canadian show has a sticker. See, Emma says she was. I knew it. And you were drinking Tim Hortons in your backyard. I remember. Okay. If the speed limit is 60 and I floored it until I hit 60, is it still considered speeding? It's not speeding because you're not driving in excess of the speed limit, but it could be careless driving. It could be dangerous driving. It could be stunt driving. It could be any number of things depending on what we are seeing and what the conditions were and who was put at risk and so on and so forth. And it depends. But it's not speeding. It would be a different charge. Hi, good morning, officer. That's Stephen Bell saying hi. Hello, Stephen. Hope you're doing well. Justin. Here we go. Justin Seguin says, I was passed by vehicles on a 4-lane highway while driving a fire truck with lights and sirens. Is that legal? Passing an emergency vehicle with, no, because they had to pull over. And those people were not so, what's the word they were clowns. I don't know. I got to come up with a new word. I've overused clowns to describe people who do stupid things. I don't want to call them stupid because they're not stupid people necessarily, but they're doing stupid things. So you draw your own conclusions. But no, it's not legal to pass. First of all, you can't speed. So I'm assuming that an emergency vehicle with lights and sirens is maybe speeding, or at very least going as fast as they can safely. Anyone passing them is obviously doing the wrong thing. But that aside, they are. I'm often frustrated by people doing things, even when it's secondhand information. It's like generational traffic trauma. Someone liked the post I made. I get my Apple Watch updates, so I'm constantly seeing Twitter and TikTok things. Dan Calvano wants to know if I can move my license plate on my front bumper to the side. Yes, you can. No, not to the side of the car. It's to the front. Tow hook adapter is perfectly legit. It's in fact too legit to quit. We talked about that. Akela brings up a good question. Actually, there's only one word here I want to draw attention to. Tires spelled Tyres. Who knows who spells them that way? I was in Australia many moons ago, and I was really taken aback by the fact that they misspelled tire. They spell it differently, but it really just, I still remember to this day all the tire advertisements, and the batteries. Anyway. I'm not wearing a jumper. There's a whole bunch of things that we say and do differently around the world, but it is interesting. I love the quirky differences between the world players. City buses pull out immediately at times without looking first when a car is beside them. Protocol. Well, in Toronto, and I imagine elsewhere, you must yield to a city bus. There's signs in the back. Now, the question is, if you're side by side, should you at that point allow them to go? Well, I think if you're at the front of the line, they should have to wait at least a second to let them clear. And then the people who are then behind them should yield to them. But that, what is protocol? It's a good question, because what I think is appropriate and what I would lay charges for may be different than another officer. At the end of the day, I give them a few seconds, and if I to get a good go, and if they haven't started moving, then I will. So it depends. It really depends. Everything depends. Depends is the answer from now on. How old must children be to ride in the front passenger seat? So there's no law controlling what passenger position a child resides. I'm assuming they're not living in the car, but sits in. So can a child sit in the front seat at any age? Yes. Is it the best thing to do? No. We suggest, and people in the know say 14 years old before they're in their front seat. So back seat until they turn 14, and then front seat. Can you be in the front seat? Sure. What if you have a two-seater car? You have a pickup truck with a bench? Yes, they can be in the front seat. And even, yes, you can put a child restraint, a car seat in the front. You can do it. But being that you probably like your kids, in the unfortunate event of a collision, the best place for them to be is the back seat. And if there is no back seat, take the driver's seat, put it as far back as humanly possible, because airbags can kill people. Yes. In fact, this is a great segue into something I need to talk about. I was talking to my buddy Mike yesterday, who said he watched someone driving who may have been vertically challenged. Sorry to offend anyone who's vertically challenged. And they were hugging up on that steering wheel so close that they were less than 6 inches away, according to his report. What does that mean? Is that a big deal? Yes. They could get killed by the airbag. They're so close. You should not be hugging up on that. If you are so close that your hands are right in front of your face, it's a problem. That airbag deploys at about 200 miles per hour. And the energy transference from that, just the flaps opening, could do damage. It will do damage. Ideally, the idea is that airbag that completely inflates before you make impact, because at that point you are having it's reducing your speed, absorbing the energy as you travel forward into it, but you're not getting an additional impact of it exploding into your face. Bad. So you want to have your arms at that 90 degrees. You want to have them gently. If there's a way to get a seating position. Googly good. Can we googly good? Let's googly good. I want a visual. That's why. Safe seating position. Putting some extra keywords here to see if I can find something appropriate, relevant. Here we go. Sit so there's a gap of 2 fingers wide between the back of your knees and the seat. Place 2 fingers between the edge of the seat. Okay, let's. This is a wiki page on how to have the appropriate. Come on, pictures. I want pictures here. Here we go. Let's share this. Come on, share screen. There we go. Fantastic. So their arms are outstretched. And Ryan, if you're watching still, I'd love to hear your take on this. But if their chest was inches away from that steering wheel, it would deploy into them, and that would be bad. That's a good relaxed position. I like that. We'll come back to this. See if Ryan's got anything to say. Okay. Scrolling back. Hello, how do demerit points work? Okay, we can talk about that. I guess we'll have to go away from this picture for a second. Ontario demerits. I'll see if there's a chart available. I think there are. Understanding demerit points. Maybe I need to put this on my link tree. I can do that. I've got a link tree. We'll talk about that in a second, where I'm going to add this. Oh, yes, I will. So how demerit points work are all here on the Province of Ontario's page, and it discusses how it works. Like, I won't read it all, because every offense has a different number of points, and some of them have 0 because they're not necessarily moving to violations. But it's important to know how it works and how long they stay. Here's the total list. So there's lots. And you have to know that as a fully qualified driver versus a learner, a novice driver, there's a lower threshold that you meet before bad stuff happens. So for a driver with a full license, you get a warning letter between 6 and 8 points, 9 to 14. You get a second letter, which big deal. Letter. I don't think we should wait this long. I think we should start sending people to school when they get this. Then 15 or more points, you get a 30-day suspension. I don't know. I think you should just lose your license at 15, period. That's a lot. That's a serious issue. But here's for new drivers, where everybody else gets 6 to 8 points, they get 2 to 5 points when for the first warning letter. For the second letter, you get 6 letters, you got big problems. 6 to 8 points instead of 9 to 14. And 9 points is a 60-day suspension. So at least it's doubling up on the suspension. And what is not, here's the escalating penalties. So this is a good thing to know about. If you get a ticket that has 4 demerit points in the one ticket, you're getting a 30-day suspension right away, or at least on conviction, whether you pay it or you get found guilty in court. And then second time, 90. Third time, you get kicked out of the graduated licensing program. So I appreciate you asking, because this is a good question. It really is. Chill driving tips with Sean. This is a new series according to Akela. What is this? Dr. Nick. What does Dr. Nick want to know? Is it 1 million? I'm obviously missing. Oh, trivia question of the day. Oh. Minimum amount of liability insurance? I actually don't know, because it's just not something that's in my. So what's the answer, Chase? Dr. Nick suggested 1 million, and then Chase came back and said no. Here we go. A minimum of 200,000 of third-party liability is required. Interesting. Chase provides all sorts of information. I watch a show called Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, and Chase can jump on and maybe jump on with an episode with him, because he's got lots of great stuff that most people don't care about, but I care about, because I'm a traffic geek. So that's very cool. I pay for $2 million liability. I want extra liability. I want to make sure, because $200,000 does not last very long, and most civil cases, if they go there, pay out more than that. Which means if you're only covered to 200, the rest of it's coming out of your pocket. Not fun. And I had a friend, and I've talked about this before on the show, years and years ago, was involved in a collision, didn't have insurance. They thought they had insurance, but they were a victim of an insurance fraud where a company was selling pink slips without actually having a policy to back it up on the other side. So when he hit somebody, he was liable. And he basically paid for the rest of his life. Well, he's still alive. I don't think he's paying anymore, so maybe not the rest of his life. Morning, Sean. Ted. I did not watch Ted Lasso. Nah. I don't want to know. I did not watch Ted Lasso last night. I will not get to watch it tonight. I will not get to watch it the next night. Friday night, I get to watch Ted Lasso. And I'm now super excited. Thank you. Okay. What do we have here? Callum, I hope you're not the Callum from the radio commercials. There's a Callum in the radio commercials that I don't like the radio commercials. Ever have any radio commercials that make you want to turn off the radio? Yeah. There's one commercial I can't stand. I'm assuming you're not that Callum. If you are, I really apologize, but I don't like your commercial. Question: can you get a ticket for speeding in a medical emergency? Yes, you can. There is never a justifiable reason to speed. If you have a medical emergency, call a medical professional, or at least they're medical professionals. Call an ambulance. Take an ambulance to the hospital. If you're instructed to drive to the hospital for whatever reason, do so without speeding. And let me tell you why. If you cause another collision, if you cause delays or issues because of your speeding, you're never going to get where you're going, and you're never going to help the person who needs help. You're just going to require more help and cause more injury and tie up more resources. So call an ambulance. And here's the most amazing thing about ambulances. They are advanced care paramedics. They actually stabilize people before transporting them as best they can. And if they can't stabilize them because something's happened, then they go and they just call an emergency run, and police coordinate with them. They shut down the entire city to get that ambulance to its destination as quickly as possible. It's amazing. What happens when you drive is people die on the way to the hospital because they're not being stabilized prior to transportation. And I hear from people in rural areas who say it's an hour until an ambulance comes. Well, I hope, first of all, that you have first aid training. If you don't have first aid training, I wholeheartedly suggest that everybody have basic first aid training. Everybody. Because if you don't know what and how to prolong life while you're waiting, you will feel guilty for the rest of yours if you didn't have the ability to help someone, a loved one. Simple choking. You need to know how to do things. Hey, if you can't get training, watch YouTube videos. Find a way to get information. Life-saving techniques are life-saving techniques. And rolling back to the will you get a ticket? You could. And if you kill someone on the way while trying to get someone to medical assistance, you're going to be held responsible for it all. If you get a ticket, does it mean you'll be convicted? Doesn't mean that. The court could say, "Oh, we understand it's reasonable and nothing happens." So, but if I pull you over, I'm going to be calling for an ambulance anyway. So go one step further. Start with the ambulance. Take direction from dispatch. They may tell you drive. Meet with an ambulance on the way. And I also have to say that American viewers, we have a lot of them, say that it's like $5,000 to go to the hospital. And I appreciate that can be expensive, but there is no price tag that will bring someone back if they pass away. There you go. Okay. What is line splitting for motorbike? I don't understand. Okay. It's called lane splitting. I know it's a typo, but I just to clarify for anyone watching. Lane splitting is where a motorcycle operator, a rider, rides between marked lanes. So it's a 4-lane road, two northbound, 2 southbound, and a motorcycle rider decides to have an imaginary lane all to themselves down the dotted line, dividing lanes 1 and 2 northbound. That's lane splitting. It is not legal. It is careless driving. It is stunt driving. It could even be dangerous driving, depending on the observations of an officer. Don't do it. And yeah, just don't do it. What is this? What is this? Trivia. We talked about this. Akil is going in misanthrope. We got great miscreant. You got great words. Maybe these are the words. No, I don't know if I can use those. I don't know if I can use those and not laugh. Well, no, it would be wrong. We talked about this. We talked about that. Okay. I should. Logan, are you in the office? Let me know. I'm going to shoot you an email. Right now, I'm sending Logan an email. Am I? Maybe I'm not. I can't find you right now. Oh, I know why. Hang on. But I need to do this. Hang on a second. I want to send him a link if he's around. Maybe he'll jump in for a few minutes. Let me know if you're in. If you're in, then I'll go down the rabbit hole. All right. Looking over to the live. Dogs and Pugs, how you doing? To call an ambulance, do we call 911? Yes. Ambulance, fire, police. It's all goes into a call center. Call takers pick up the call and determine who needs to be notified. So that's why they say police, fire, ambulance, what is your emergency? And then based on your response, they're going to send the appropriate people to assist you. And sometimes it's more than one. Yeah, a tiered response, we call it. Okay. Oh, Emma, I saw the video about the choking pump. I saw a very interesting video about the choking pump. I was not aware that those things existed up until very recently when I saw a TikTok about it. This is basically a vacuum pump. I didn't know. It's very cool. Bless you. Somebody sneezed. I know who it was, but I won't out them. Okay. Well, things are doing. I'm going to poke in here and see what else is going on here. What schooling do you need to be a police officer? So grade 12, Ontario Secondary School diploma is the minimum, 4 years of secondary school. Now, in some places in Ontario, apparently there was a university degree required. That has come out. They have come out and said that is not required anywhere in the province of Ontario now. That was the premier who came out and said that. And they are also paying now for their subsidized. They're paying for it. They're absorbing, maybe is the right word, the cost of police college, which has a $15,000 price tag. So, yeah, they are really, really trying to make it easier for people to join the job, because $15,000 is nothing to shake a stick at. That's a serious investment in your future, in a job. And even if you get fired or quit, you pay that money. You don't get a refund because you failed, and you don't get a refund because you quit and didn't like the job. So it's a big investment. And for a long time, it was something that the police service paid for. And then what would happen is smaller services that couldn't afford to pay for so many people to go through the police college, because it still was a cost that they had to pay for. They downloaded that cost to a police officer, because what would happen is small services would come and steal. So Toronto would hire 100 people, and 35 people would hand in their uniform before the end of the police college and say, we got a job offer from somewhere back home. So they took advantage of the free school, and then they went and worked somewhere else. So the police service lost money. That's not cool. So they said, okay, we're gonna download the cost to the student so that they have a vested interest to stay. They're not going to take off. And then certain services would pay it back after a certain time. I just paid it like $200 a paycheck type thing until it was paid off, because it was a super low interest loan, and it was a guaranteed loan that was offered by the police credit union. So lots of cool things. I don't think I would have said no if it was 50 grand. I would have just paid it off, and I'd still be paying it off. But now that it's no cost, that does change things. People who, it's a $15,000 signing bonus almost, at least from my perspective. Tracy has offended me. She said, what is a Ted Lasso? It's a television show on Apple TV Plus, and it's an amazing one. It might be the best television show ever made. Is there a better television show? Let me know in the comments if there's a better television show than Ted Lasso, or if you've never heard of Ted Lasso, because either way, I want to know what you think. Personal question. Oh, I've had a question like this before. If you weren't a cop, what other career would you have chosen? So I got to say, I've had a number of careers. I was a computer person, so I was a computer technician, analyst, all sorts of I was all sorts of stuff and things in the world of tech. I was a hardware technician. I used to work for Apple. I've done all sorts of stuff in that regard. I worked for other software companies. I did that. I was a realtor. I was a real estate agent for a number of years. Both my parents were realtors, and so I was in the family business, and I did that. And I'd probably, if I was doing it tomorrow, I have no idea. I have no idea what I would do tomorrow if I had never become a police officer. I don't know where I'd be, but I love what I do, and I like what I do here, specifically educating and talking with you all. So it's very cool. I'm checking Discord because Chase said he sent a message in Discord. Where did he post it? Let's see. I don't see it. Is there any questions? Oh, it's a voice. I don't know if you're gonna. Well, I'm going to play it here because I don't know if I can get whatever reason we weren't hearing it play. So
you said previously you cannot tandem tow with a personal vehicle. It has to be a commercial vehicle. Now, isn't a pickup truck a commercial vehicle since it has the white plate with the black letters? So
it's a good question. So the answer is that if there's actually a weight limit on a personal vehicle. It has to be like a full camper, like a full motorhome, and motorhomes, I believe, are above the threshold, which would allow for tandem towing. I don't suggest tandem towing, but it's not simply commercial grade. It has to be commercial vehicle, and and pickup trucks don't qualify. So yeah, we got both things. We got what other career would I do? Maybe I'd do the radio thing. I keep hearing I should be in radio. So maybe I'd do a radio thing if I left here. Maybe in my retirement I'll be a radio personality, or maybe I'll just keep talking to you here on TikTok and YouTube. I'll be a YouTuber. Okay. And Chase says he was under the impression that they get black letters because they're commercial plates. They're commercial plates because they're trucks. They're truck plates as opposed to commercial. And then because they're being used for non-commercial purposes, they get that designation. It's a really silly thing. Dan wants to know if I go out on patrol and what department am I in? So I work for the Toronto Police. It says it above my head. I am a police officer. However, I don't go on the road anymore. I was injured in a motorcycle collision a number of years ago, and I have not been, I have not recovered sufficiently enough to go back on the road. I would love to be back on the road. I don't want to leave you behind, but I do love being on the road and interacting with people in person. And I also really enjoy enforcing laws and things, and not just talking about them. So I would totally be back on the road if I could, and I'd probably just dip my toe back into TikTok once in a while. Or maybe I'd take you on the road with me. So hopefully one day I get to go back on the road because I miss it. And if I could be anything on the road, I'd go back to the Motor Squad because it is the best place on earth. Yes. What else we got here? And I already said I work for Toronto Police. And I'm a media relations and media social media officer. So I do stuff and things in relation to that and education, of course. Let's see here. How is multicolored paint job identified on an ownership? Actually, it's multicolor. That's how it's if it's more than a pinstripe or a highlight, we list it as multicolor. And it might just say multi because it's really limited text. I saw a dealer plate mounted on the front, not the back. That is not, I don't think that's right. It should not be. Unless it was on a truck. Maybe on a truck, because technically your validation would be on the front of a truck. So maybe there's a policy there. But I've never really thought about that. In general, it's the rear plate where dealer plates must be mounted. But now I want to read stuff. So cool. I always love it when you bring new stuff to the table. Okay. Host, Q. No. Peanut? Is that a peanut? That might be a peanut. I try to stick to 100 kilometers an hour on carpool lanes, but drivers tailgate and get aggressive. Well, I do stick to 100 kilometers an hour. The HOV lane does not have a higher speed limit, despite the clowns who believe it does. And it is intended so that you can continue faster than the speed of traffic that is not moving at all. So there's a speed differential. And technically, you should never go more than 40 kilometers an hour over the other traffic, up to the speed limit, but over. So if everyone's doing 40 and slowing traffic, you really shouldn't go over 80, because some nitwit is going to pull out of that pack that's going 40 and decide to get into the lane. If you're doing 100 or more, you are going to become one with that one. Okay. I'm going to ask Logan to, I didn't realize you responded yet. Let me send Logan. Logan, can you, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Sending him an email. He's going to join us. I can't go to two different things. I can't multitask as well as I used to. I sent you my email address at work. Just send me an email, and I'll send you the invite link so you can join us and you can come chill out for a few minutes. Okay. Was question. Picture the situation of the Jackrabbit start left turn. What if other drivers wave you through first? Well, if other drivers, okay, so this is, if you saw the video that I posted a while ago, this was a video where a driver has hit the gas and proceeds to make a left turn in front of opposing traffic who has started to enter the intersection, and they have essentially cut them off. So the question is, well, what if they wait too long? Well, what is too long? It has to be reasonable, and they have to be given the opportunity to go when it turns green. And you don't get to say, well, it's been 30 milliseconds, I'm out. Yeah, that's not okay. They have the reasonable opportunity to go, and reasonable isn't a millisecond. So that's a thing. Two, if you were being waved on, is that legal? Well, you wouldn't be doing a jackrabbit start because they have the opportunity to go and they're giving it up. So there wouldn't be stunt driving at that point. But what happens when you make the turn and the guy next to the person who waved to you hits you? Well, at that point, you are going to cause a collision, and you're going to be responsible for it. The guy waving you isn't responsible, even though you'd think it would be, but you're responsible. You get a vehicle turning. You have to make sure it's safe before you go. So that's a thing. I don't see Chase having sent me an email. Not Chase. I didn't see Logan send me the email that I'm like, hey, there it is. Hola. He just sent me an email. And we're responding. What a nice email. Okay, reply. We're pasting. And momentarily, we should have a guest. Look at that. Magic. We're only here for 15 minutes more, but you know what? You got to see the man in the beard. Let's see here. What are some services that families get if their loved ones get killed in the line of duty? Well, that's horrible. And, we're just this weekend going to the police memorial downtown at the Queen's Park. and we'll be remembering those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. I honestly don't know the details. I mean, there's life insurance and there's things like that, but it doesn't matter what there is. It's not enough because it doesn't bring back the person that they lost. There's nothing that makes it better. Yeah. And that's, I mean, the families, the actual families, there's no make it better. And for the friends and colleagues, because we're a family here too, there's nothing that makes it better. We will forever miss our loved ones. And we love our friends. They're family. We are a big family here. And I'm going to stop talking about this because otherwise I'm not going to hold it together. Why can't I speed if no one else is around? Would you pull over 100? And I will pull someone over for speed. If I'm doing speed enforcement and I see you speeding and you're going faster than you're allowed to, then someone else is around, me, watching you speed. So I would pull you over and I would charge you. And he's wearing the hat. And I don't hear you, but I see you. And I still don't hear you. But you're not speaking, so that's probably why I'm not hearing you. No, we hear you not. Make sure you got your microphone selected. We can just we'll let them work it out. So do we have a song to sing? Yeah, still. Oh wait, no, I got nothing. Wait, maybe it's me. Hang on a second. How about now? No, it was working before. Oh, I wonder, was it working before? I still hear nothing. I don't know what's going on. If you go to your settings, make sure you've got the microphone selected. It's total silence. Okay, we'll figure this out in a second. Checking all my connections. We'll let them work it out. We'll see what happens. I don't see anything happening. All right, moving on to stuff and things that are while you figure it out. Here, I'll do this. We'll do this. We'll put them in the side. You're still there. You're just here. Graphics. Let me turn off the graphics. You're in the corner. Put you in the corner until you got your audio working out. Are radar detectors legal in Alberta? They are, and I don't know why. But they are. I don't think they should be legal anywhere. So, why they're illegal, I don't know. But they are. Well, now he's got me questioning my own sanity. No, that was right. Okay, chat. There we go. Perfect. Should still be working. It's not my problem. It's your problem. Okay, we're going back to main stereo. Okay, so they're legal there. They're not legal here. Here we have search seizure authority. Can you hear me, by the way? Are you able to hear me? Oh, here's me. I just can't. You can't. Okay. Michael wants to know when so the police memorial runs downtown at Queen's Park. Hey, I think I just heard you.
Yeah.
What happened?
I have no idea.
As long as we're consistently not knowing things, it's perfect.
Right? I just want to make sure I'm on the right audio.
Well, either way, I hear you. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is. You are on the show, and no longer I was going to start lip syncing.
We're here.
Okay. Oh, now you got the right microphone. What was it?
I'm a bit of a potato, and I didn't realize at the bottom part of the screen I didn't hit the.
I've done that before.
Yeah, so because I don't have my big headset, you can
wear your chapeau.
Rock mon chapeau.
Very good. Magical even.
Yeah, radar detectors in Alberta are illegal, and I don't know why.
Melanie says we're good. TikTok hears us. Thank you, Melanie.
Beauty.
And Dogs and Pugs says, Logan, oh my God, hello.
Hola.
So what let's see, the wonders of live broadcast makes you appreciate the news more. Yes, they have teams of people who make them look good, and this is me.
I don't.
I remember when we started doing this, and I would have technical difficulties, and they're like, you should get your technical people to do and fix this, and I'd be like, but I am the technical people. Like,
yeah,
it's
I'm
just
the guy.
me. It's just me. It's all that in a bag of chips. Dr. Nick wants to know about mounting spotlights on my truck hood, or is that unsafe vehicle? Mounting a spotlight. If you're truly mounting it, I don't see any reason that it would be less than legal. It has to be securely fastened so it doesn't come off in the event that could it be a problem? It could be a problem, but generally speaking, it's not a problem. I don't know if the articulating lights that police use are permissible on other vehicles. I'm sure they are. In fact, when you buy a retired police vehicle, often they have those. So
they still have them on. Yeah,
I don't think this. I wish we had those.
Even a lot of our gas and electric trucks, they've got those mechanical spotlights that are controlled from within inside the cab, so you can have them as long as you're not shining them in people's faces.
Well, that's different. That's use.
Right.
Using them while you're driving is
totally different.
Have you seen the ones that are completely robotic, electric, fast moving, like they pan and tilt, zoom?
Yeah,
those are cool.
Yeah, we looked at putting them on our PCs here, and they're pretty quick.
Yes.
So,
and some of them synchronize and dance. Chase wants to know about special constables pulling people over. Well, obviously, special constables or peace officers can pull people over in Alberta. In Ontario, or at least in Toronto, I don't know, but I can't speak to the entire province in that regard, because special constables can be sworn in to do different things. And in Ontario, I'm not aware of police constable or special constables pulling people over.
So I know a good friend of mine worked for OC Transpo, and if a vehicle was on the transit way, they could pull the vehicle over.
OC Transpo, what's that?
Ottawa, their city bus transit system in Ottawa.
Transit police. So yes, so they have,
but they're special constables.
They have, that's right, and they have authority on their property or in relation to their property.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I don't know enough. I know they can do certain things. The rail police. The railway police are actually police, so it gets into some significantly muddy water.
Yeah,
because depends on what their title is and what their authorities are. But they know their authorities. I hope. I don't necessarily know what their authorities. Here's a good question: what speed over the posted limit gets you arrested? It depends if it has to be considered dangerous. It's not a specific number.
Well, it's funny you say that. In Alberta, in the Traffic Safety Act, you can be arrested for speeding in general.
Really?
Yeah, it's an arrest provision for it. So, but I think you're not going to arrest somebody for doing 10 over. But like you said, it all comes down to, what is happening at the time of the speed, or even just 51 plus. You're probably going to get arrested. You may not go to jail, but.
Well, and JD sent a message and says stunt driving is arrestable. And, I never really think of it that way, because very often we just seize the vehicle and give the ticket.
Yeah.
But it's an arrestable offense.
Yep.
And I've just never arrested someone for it. Criminal dangerous, clearly it's criminal code and it's arrestable, and I would arrest. Although I've never laid the charge of dangerous driving. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I need a reason to do it. I don't want people to do it, because I don't want someone to put people's lives at risk in order to arrest someone for dangerous driving.
Exactly.
And then drive under suspension and fail to identify, those are arrestable offenses under the HTA.
Yeah.
But the question was specifically about speed. What's the speed over the posted that gets you arrested? But there's a number of things under the HTA. You can arrest someone for modifying or what's the word I'm looking for? It's for modifying or if you paint the license plate, you've done something to it, and the word escapes me at the moment.
We call it defacing here. Yeah.
Defacing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's doing something to it.
And then there's mutilate. So I don't know why they use that word, but it's mutilate or deface a license plate, document, stuff like that.
Arrestable offense. That's one. Again, I never arrested someone for that. What's the difference between a peace officer and a police officer? That is the question of the day.
Beauty. Do you want me to? I can answer it if you want, Sean.
Sure.
So the big difference between a peace officer and a police officer, at least where I am, and I would assume it's probably no different than some special constables in Ontario. I enforce municipal laws, provincial laws, and some federal laws that are directly pertaining to my job at the time. Whereas a police officer, they enforce municipal, provincial, and federal. So in a nutshell, that is the easiest way for me to explain it.
I'll tell you what the biggest difference is here between special constable and because peace officer designation is, we don't have peace officers, because when you have a parking enforcement officer and they're assaulted, you charge someone with assault peace officer. A mayor is a peace officer, not a police officer. But when we talk about special constable, it's a slightly different. Like, are you a peace officer 24/7? Are you sworn all the time? Is your
only in the course of my duties? So when I'm on shift, that's whenever I'm a peace officer.
So that in that regard, it's very similar to special constable, which you only have police authority, and it's limited specific authorities while you're on duty. And then the deal with police officers is you're a police officer 24/7. And actually, JD, special constables are under the Police Services Act now. And auxiliary, I think it is, and special constables, auxiliary officers too, I believe. JD was saying that historically, I think you're correct. We did that. Special constables didn't fall under, and auxiliary constables didn't fall under the Police Services Act, but I believe they're now in a limited way. Let's see here. If I'm stuck behind a train, you're at a railway crossing. I hope you're not behind a train. That would suggest you're on the tracks. And that is not cool.
We all make mistakes.
But if you're stuck at a railway crossing and it's been 10 minutes and it's not going anywhere, can you U-turn in the line of cars and turn around? Well, U-turns are prohibited within 30 meters of a railway crossing. There's a little longer if there's an edge of a roadway. Interesting. I've never thought about it. There's obviously, if it's disabled, it's not going anywhere. That's a problem. I would call the telephone number that's listed on the railway crossing, say, "Hey, what's up?" And then get some direction. But technically, it's not legal. Whether or not that would be something that anyone would hold against you if it was reasonable that it's forever. If the train is going, don't do it. If the train is not going and there's just no action, maybe. Is it? But I'm not aware of a specific limit of time that says the law no longer applies. But reasonable is a different situation. Zombie says, in case we don't see you tomorrow, enjoy the gala and may the 4th be with you. Yes. Are you doing anything special for the 4th? And you're muted now. I don't hear you again. You touched something. What did you do? You broke it. You have one job. I can tell what you're saying. I'm learning to.
How about me now? You got me now?
You're on a different microphone, but yes, I hear you.
Oh my God.
What did you did you scroll the wheel and mute the mic?
Yeah.
Did I tell you how much I dislike PCs? Yeah, I'm a Mac guy through and through. Emma is enjoying your self mutation.
Well, I'm so used to hearing myself in my headphones.
Yeah,
I was trying to see if I could move it to a different, and of course
it is because when you use your fancy mic, it really makes a difference.
Oh, it makes a big difference.
Do you not like that's a good mic, huh? I'm glad you got that.
It's a good, I thank you for that. May 4th, it's just another day for me. But to be very honest, right next door to me is my father-in-law, believe it or not. He's one of our handy bus drivers here. Anyway, man is a diehard Star Wars fan. His whole office is Star Wars. So he will probably come in some weird costume. Probably
very good. Pay attention to all of our channels tomorrow because regardless if I can go live, there is a surprise. Dogs and Pugs Forever says that she loves your uniform.
Oh, well, thank you. Some people like it, not whenever it's at the door, but they like it everywhere else.
Michael says, I have no problems on Windows. Sean is the issue. How am I the issue? I didn't touch his microphone, but I really don't. I used to work for Apple. I'm very, very pro Apple.
Oh, so you drank the Kool-Aid.
I am a Kool-Aid drinker.
I am definitely drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah. Which is nice though, because all of our MWS and our PCs, everything is Apple. So everything just
MWS is Apple.
Everything.
You have Apples in your car. They issue tickets.
Yeah. Everything is Apple.
Get out.
Yeah. So everything just blends together. Yeah. It's nice.
That's
makes
actually
makes the job on traffic a lot easier.
I would have never thought that a Mac would be used as a work computer in that environment. As a creative, like I got a MacBook Pro here, and so
we use tablets.
Oh, your
we
iPad.
Have a big iPad. Yeah.
I've got an iPad. I got a 12.9 inch iPad.
Yeah.
I like it. Akela Dracona says, Logan mutation connection. I'm in my X-Wing flight suit tomorrow. Yes. And you can see if you look down at that icon right there.
He's in it already.
He's already in it. Apple sheep. Chase does not approve of the Apple game.
Yeah. It's the music that got me. When it first came out, I bought all this money in music, and now it's like, what am I going to do with it?
Well,
I actually the Android.
I subscribe to the monthly thing. Oh, by the way, I just saw my wife who's in here. Hello to my wife who's in the TikTok. You said you'd be at TikTok, and you are, and I didn't see you in the main, so I didn't look over until now and see you. So my wife is watching. Hello, wife.
Well, I mean, you're not my wife, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Hello to my wife.
Hello to your wife
from Logan. Yes. Not getting weird at all. Let's see here. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. Was it
We were
about?
talking about Apple. I don't know if you're talking about
I
tracks, but-
subscribed to the Apple Music library thing.
Yeah. I've done that since. Yeah.
I like that a lot. And I even paid $25 a month, and it gives me, not a month, a year. And it's called something that I don't remember the name of. And it basically will take anything that I load, personal music, it'll put it into the cloud and make it accessible on all my devices as though it was in the Apple Music library.
Ooh,
I can't remember what it's called, but I've had it for well before the Apple Music subscription existed.
gotcha.
And it was for $25 a year. I mean, how do you go wrong?
Can't.
So I've recently, in cleaning out my parents' house, preparing it for sale, I am finding old 12-inch records. I have all my I used to DJ parties and stuff, and I have all my 12-inch singles. I have some really inappropriate music, as it turns out, and I have a lot of old stuff that I wonder if it even exists anymore anywhere else.
I just when I picture you as a DJ, I picture you with like a different wig every night of like something flowy and just headbanging while you're spinning.
Headbanging?
Right?
That's about it. There's no headbanging. Although I probably played some White Snake at some time while I was in high school DJing. Just saying, it wasn't house. I did a lot of Chicago house, a lot of old school house music, and I got a lot of that, good old music sitting at home. And I used to have crates of it. I don't know where it all is, but I have the best of the Sesame Street. I found even my childhood records. I found my mom's old records. I've got old.
Yeah.
Did you see my post about the Crayola kits that I found?
Yes. How old are those?
1987. I moved away from that address, so it is those predate. They had to have been in the house before I left, obviously, and at least 35 years old. But in looking in eBay, because I was curious, like, are they worth anything? My brother looked it up. Apparently, they're circa 1981.
Yeah, I looked at it, and then I could immediately smell a canvas tent in my head.
Canvas tent?
Yeah, like when you go to a canvas tent, they smell like crayons. They smell like Crayola. No,
I don't.
Am I the only one?
I think you're on your own.
I'm
here.
the only one.
Maybe
I was having a stroke that day. I don't know.
I am going to pull this up on screen so that
it's incredible though. It really gives you a blast from the past. Really gives you, and like they were really it's really good artwork. Like from the time.
Here's what I'm gonna share the screen so y'all can see what we're talking about. I like saying y'all.
I like the y'all. Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Right? How old is that?
That is. I mean, look at the haircut. Like, look at the hair.
Is that still in plastic, Sean?
That is still shrink wrapped original. Yes,
it is.
It came out of the shipping box, the actual corrugated box, and not one, but I have this one too.
It's still in the plastic.
I want to know why the decorator one is only for girls and the car one is only for boys. Why is that? Anyway,
should we?
I think they're both cool. And I took drafting in high school, so I think this is really as I said, I'm a geek, I'm a tech guy, and I like artsy fartsy stuff. So this is really cool, and I want to open them up and play with my kids. But I looked at the box and I saw Crayola, and I said, my mother, who died a number of years ago, unfortunately, I figured she bought this for my kids. And then I opened it up, I'm like, why is the hair like this?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then I look at the address, and sure enough, it's a very unused, no longer relevant address. So what's wild to have a find like this, and now I want to play with it.
It's funny. The box said age 7 and up. I myself at 34 could not do that.
Oh, come on. Sure you could.
You see all those like triangles and stuff with the holes?
Triangles.
I don't even know what those are called.
Come on. It's a little drafting kit. I think this is funky. So and how about this one? Let me put it back on screen for a second. The one in the top right hand corner there. Does that not look like it's the
Mystery Machine?
Yes. The Mystery Machine, absolutely.
Right.
That's not the way I wanted this to scale. Not work at all.
I'm pretty sure it is.
A variation of the Mystery Machine. Anyway, I totally want to draw trains and automobiles.
Yeah, great movie.
Okay. Obviously, we're going over time because you know.
Sorry, I'm always every time I come on, I always like.
No. Well, you also joined the show late, not through through any fault of yours.
Let's be honest.
Oh my God! There's a whole discussion here going on with my wife and dogs and pugs and Emma. Oh, Emma can't picture me as a DJ. You probably can't picture me with long hair then.
You just got to put your one hand to your mic there, your headphone, and then you just gotta. Yeah.
Is it uns? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a couple of jokes because May 2nd, I didn't read them, and I have a stack from a few days ago. What is as big as an elephant but doesn't weigh anything?
Isn't it like a mouse or something? Oh,
It's shadow. In terms of jokes, you would think it should be a joke. That's not a joke. That's a riddle, and it's stunk.
Yeah.
Today's I don't even know what it is until I read it. It says, I didn't want to make paper airplanes with my daughter, but she was so insistent, so I eventually folded. That's actually funny. I appreciate that one. Are we going to be here tomorrow? So I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. So maybe I just take a picture of this one. In the event that I can't go live tomorrow, I'll take a picture of this one so I can post it because it's good and it's related to the 4th. How do celebrities stay cool?
I'm gonna plead the 5th.
They have a lot of fans.
I was not.
2 guys walked into a bar. The 3rd guy ducked. How do you make 7 even?
God, it took me a minute. I'm like, where'd the 3rd guy come from? And I was like, no.
Yeah,
never mind. Disregard. Oh God.
How do you make 7 even?
It's gonna be easy. I know it.
It's
gonna make me laugh. Like,
are you giving up?
Oh, I don't want to look stupid anymore.
You take away the S. How do you this? I don't know how I feel about this one. How do you make an egg giggle?
Yeah.
You tell it a yolk.
Oh God. Well, it's not bad.
I don't know.
It's on the fence.
Oh, actually, this is car related. What kind of car does a sheep like to drive?
You got me.
A Lamborghini.
Ooh.
I don't make these up. Well, and then I'll save the other one for this. So that's that. Let me see if there's any. Oh, Tracy, dad joke. What do you call an all-terrain vacuum? A Hoovercraft.
Oh God.
I like it a lot. That was actually good. And Akela got the S thing from How Do You Make 7 Even. That was good. Every time my kid stubs his toe, I offer to call him a tow truck. Pain goes immediately. I like that.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. That actually really
to keep that one for my son. Yeah.
Yes. Does Logan confirm that Alberta is the Texas of Canada?
Yes. Yes, sir. That's between the oil and gas and everything else, and we got the best beef. I mean, let's be honest. If you've never had Alberta beef, you have. Well, yeah, it's good.
Michael wants access to my record collection. I don't know. I recently in the last year I bought a record player with a USB output for the day that I found my records whilst cleaning the house because I wanted to convert old stuff to digital.
I was going to say you should convert everything.
I am going to convert it.
Massive library.
I guess, but when you already have all the music in the world, I mean, I don't think I've ever purchased a Gordon Lightfoot album. But yesterday on news of his death, I listened to a whole bunch of Gordon Lightfoot. And
so did I. I already had some on my phone.
Such iconic.
Definitely listen. Oh, it's so good. Sundown, like just so many. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Do you think you can do any like the TikTok trends? with Gordon Light, we could create a TikTok trend with Gordon.
Oh
Light.
yeah, I think we could make it work.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not singing. There was a very funny TikTok, and then I got to go. But a very funny TikTok that I saw yesterday, and it was Sting in the audience of an award show
Yes.
And watching somebody else sing his song,
it was so bad.
It was the worst rendition of anything I'd ever heard. I don't know how I could have done possibly better than that. I don't know who that person was. I don't ever want to listen to them again. That was horrible.
That was like just being that guy singing, and then probably have seen that clip later.
Did you see the pain in Sting's eyes?
Yeah, and he knew the camera was on him, right?
God.
So he's doing everything he can to
being
just
polite.
keep it But even then, his eyes said everything.
I've never seen someone in so much pain.
Yeah.
It was. I really. Yeah.
And it's Sting. I mean, come on, you can't
Well, Sting. He's kind of
like his stuff.
He's kind of law enforcement.
Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
He's kind of law enforcement.
Oh,
Sting.
Is this going to be a joke? Oh God, there it is. God,
he was.
I know.
Police. Yes.
I know. Well, no, and see, I didn't even get that.
Oh,
I didn't even get that. I thought we were talking about like he's in a sting operation.
No.
Even then,
the police.
We're not smart out here, Sean.
But you got nice hats.
I'm not smart out here. Yes. Of course, he's in the police. Oh my God.
Emma says, poor Logan. All right. What is this?
I'm doing Ginger's a disservice here.
But you get a lot of extra what do you call it? Leeway
brownie points
with everybody here because you're
Thank you.
my wife says you're okay. All right. A mouse. What was the mouse? Oh no. See, Emma suggested it could have been a mouse. With the back to the elephant.
The elephant.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I
don't know how that would be bigger. Well, anyway. Listen, I got to go. I'm really glad you jumped in and
thanks for having me.
Did you hear on the beginning of the show that TikTok limited our live for some reason? We don't know why.
No.
Yeah, I got an alert and I was a dum-dum and I didn't screen share it, so I don't know what it had an issue with. But apparently we're produced too professionally. That was the gist of it. But I should have read beyond the first word and just clicking OK. I was just too eager to make it go away.
Yeah.
I should have snapped a shot. I may have to come back in 10 minutes and try it again. In any case, I will talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks for jumping in and saying hello.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Absolutely love coming on.
Maybe we'll do it again next week. So let me know what your schedule's like. And until then, everybody, thank you for dropping in. Hey, have you heard the police the traffic song recently?
I have. I will say when you play it on our end, it's very quiet.
Oh, really?
Always very quiet.
How about this? A little louder?
That's good. Okay. Normally you're like up to the.
Now it's me loud. Here we go.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways and go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Tracy just said her aunt was engaged to Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh,
wow, that's a thing. And totally not something I was expecting to read. That's wow. Well, I don't know. Does that mean we like condolences to your aunt who
anybody who has any connection with him? My condolences. I mean, he is a national treasure as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
like a Brian Adams or whatever. I said it, Brian Adams.
Adam says he missed out today. Adam, why did you miss out today? What did you miss?
You did.
Where I don't know why he missed. He was just late to the party. I would say we're back tomorrow, but we're probably not back tomorrow because I'm offsite for a meeting. Unless I can duck out and come say hello.
As long as you're the third one.
The third one?
To duck.
Not the fourth? Oh, to duck. Yes.
Oh, I brought back.
Yeah.
Brought it back.
It was a valiant effort. But the deal is that we are definitely coming back for Friday. I forgot that the week is not done. So maybe we'll see you again on Friday. We'll talk soon though.
Absolutely. You know, that jingle is so good.
Isn't
I know you got to go. I know you got to, but man, like every time I could just sing along to it, and I'm always afraid to, because especially when I'm on. But it's good. It brings me back to like Hawaii. I've never been there, so I don't know why I say it brings me back, but it makes me think of like
we're very
Honolulu.
tropical.
Yeah.
It's a very it's the background, right? It makes it tropical looking sounding.
Yeah.
And he's back. My wife again. See, whenever I say goodbye, then I say hello.
I know. Yeah.
Hello. Goodbye, hello. What is that song I'm thinking of? Hello. Da, 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 da. It's like
Time
80s.
to say goodbye, say hello.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I know the song, but and that's way before my time. Oh, we're gonna get into it again.
Yeah, no. And then the next 30 minutes brought to you by, we need a sponsor level of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Have a fantastic day, and everyone out there, be safe. Drive sober, park legally. If any game, is there anything going on in the city? I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, the Beatles. Apparently, that was the Beatles that were singing or humming or making.
There you go. We have a rodeo happening this Saturday, so yeehaw. I mean, I know you're not gonna come. Everybody's gonna come here, but we have a rodeo, a PBR one to boot. So like big name brand rodeo. It's called a PBR. Yeah, it's like the name of the
Blue
big
Ribbon, like beer. Is it beer?
No. Yeah, it's just the name of the professional bull riding something.
Is it because they're owned by Pabst?
No, that's just the acronym they use. But yeah, so that's what's going on in our community. We have a nice bull riding thing going on.
I am coming to visit you at some point. Austinator Reed says it's almost May long weekend. Stay safe. Yeah, when is May long weekend? May 2-4 at the end of May.
Yeah,
I will not be here. I'm going on vacation.
Much needed, Sean.
Michael says, when Sean says goodbye, we have another hour. That is not true. It's very occasional where I keep yapping.
I started that one, and I
usually when he's on the air, when he's on the show, that's what happens. Hello, goodbye. Elvis played ukulele in Hawaii movies. Yes, I enjoyed Elvis movies. I'm really going. We're going. This is not helping.
Right.
Hello, goodbye. That's the
name of the song. There we go.
Okay.
I'm going to the song, but yeah.
Yes, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you later on. Yeah, I'll give you a shout. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming in and for the pre-show, the post-show, the actual show, the after show. Yeah. It's all good.
After show. Yeah.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Actually, Logan.